Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis, and I have this great team that God has provided me to manage. First off, let me introduce Faith. Faith has been with me since the day she was born. She's actually been my assistant that whole time, because I used to take her and put her up on the pulpit when I was doing announcements, and she would help me do announcements. And then pretty soon when she was crawling, her dad would just let go of her and she'd crawl up to the podium real fast, because I had her trained to help me with announcements. And then she and her sister used to do affirmation cards. They used to hand out the affirmation cards after the service. And now she's 17 and my official assistant and our soloist. So thank you, Faith, for being part of this team. We love you. Glad you're here with us. And of course, here is my partner in crime, the wise and powerful Oz, who was my first baby practitioner. He took all of his training with me, except for one class I think you took at Mile High. But everything else was trained by me. And then he was my board president for years. And then he moved off to Florida, and he couldn't be part of, the service anymore. And now, because of online technology, he's back with us, and he's my partner in crime once again. So thank you so much for being here. He does our pray-ins and our pray-outs, and he's available for our 1-minute miracle after the service, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But thank you for being here. Yeah. All right. And so today's topic is connection. We are doing a series based on my book, 10 Weeks on the Road to Prosperity, which is a metaphor of a road trip with points of interest along the way. Today's point of interest is connection, and our tool today is meditation. So I will talk a little bit more about that later. I also want to welcome to the team, because they are part of the team, Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver. We do her We Are All One every week. And also Karen Drucker. And we do her song, We Are So Blessed, I Am So Blessed, at the very end of the service. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, today's music is from Karen Drucker. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So the solo that Faith will be doing is a Karen Drucker song. So I want to, welcome them to my team, because they've provided me the music to be able to do this. So we actually have a service instead of just me talking at you the whole time. All right. And of course, we love to do a lot of music, because it opens your heart, which opens your mind, which then the message of God is able to sink in. Say hi if you're here. Good morning. Hello. However you want to greet us. When we're in a facility, I can look out and see who's here. We don't have that capability with the software that we're using or Facebook Live. And so it helps me to see who's here. So please say hello, good morning, hello, hi, whatever you want to do to greet us. If you want to do a watch party, there is a watch party button. And it's a great way for your friends to see what kind of things we teach here, because we're a teaching profession, not a preaching profession. And so it's a great way for you to be able to have conversations with them back and forth and not bother anybody else. So click on that watch party button. I know Oz does that, and it's great. It's wonderful. All right. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
The presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Sorry about that. I'm working on a piece of the sermon that I wasn't able to do earlier. And here is the wise and powerful Oz.
And as things happen and as things roll forward, we know that God is behind them all, within them all, and moves as them all. For God is one. God is all things. God is all that is, all that can be, all that will be. It is the power and the process that makes things unfold. It is a creative force and is the mental force that moves within each of our minds. These thoughts that roll forward, when we become aware of them, that awareness is the presence of God, seeing, knowing, manifesting things from within to without and back and forth. I know this is a wonderful process, that it moves all times and all things, and that it is here right now with me and with you wherever you are, whenever you are, for it is always present. This ever-present thought process, this ever-present exhibition of life that we see around us is a manifestation of that one force. And I just dwell within it. And I know that it is good and very good, and I let it roll forth in our service, and I give thanks for the blessings that it can be so. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. All right, this next song is We Are All One, like I said, from Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver. And that really is our philosophy, that we are all one. So it's a perfect song for us to do every week. If you know the words, sing along and sing it loud and sing it proud, because you can't bother anybody else, right? Here we go.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I have seen, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
All right. If you're here, please say hi, hello, good morning, however you would like to greet us. Like I said, you know, if you're when we're in the facility, I can look out and see who's here, but I don't have that capability here. So please say hi, hello, good morning, however you like, and then I know who's here. Also, if something happens that, I say something or something happens within a prayer or a song or something, please use the like button, the little thumbs up. We like that. We also love to get love. So if something is, you really love something, send us hearts. And if something is really powerful and hits you just the right way and it makes a whole difference in your life, use that wow button, because then it lets me know that I'm on target or that God's on target through me. All right, without further ado, here is Faith singing Sit With It. Is that what it's called? Sit With It from Karen Drucker.
Sit, sit with it. Sit, sit, sit with it. If I got a problem, sit with it. Know where I'm going, sit with it. Trust and know the answers will flow if I sit with it. Circles, circles, getting myself some stress, seeing everything working out for the better. I'm focusing on how I'm blessed. I'm so blessed. Making a decision, sit with it. Trying to choose the right way and sit with it. I trust and know the answers will flow if I sit with it. With it. I don't have to force the issue when I relax and quiet my mind. It always comes together in its perfect and sweet time. I don't have to struggle, I sit with it. I don't have to worry, I sit with it. I trust and know the answer will flow if I sit with it. Hey, ba-da-da. Sit with it. I'll be in a lazy boy recliner, or a rocking chair, or a sofa, 'cause I just don't have a care. I'll be on a soar, a hammock, or just sit anywhere. I'm gonna sit with it. I'm gonna sit with it. Sit with it. I'll feel relief when I sit with it. I trust and I know the answer will flow if I sit with it. I trust and know the answer will flow if I sit with it. I'm gonna sit with it. I'm gonna sit with it. Sit with it. Sit with it. Yeah.
Thank you, Vin. Sorry. Oh, excuse me. I don't know about anybody else, but I have got allergies coming out the wazoo here. All right. So, as I said, today is week 8 of our series based on my book, 10 Weeks on the Road to Prosperity, which is a metaphor of a road trip and points of interest along the way. Today we're going to be talking about connection. It's really about connecting to spirit for us. And meditation is the tool. And it's been really interesting poking around in different meditations and things just to fill up my sources a little bit, refresh my sources with a bunch of different purposes of meditation. So, for instance, Buddhism. In the most general definition, meditation is a way of taking control of the mind so that it becomes peaceful and focused, and the meditator becomes more aware of the purpose of meditation. It's to stop the mind rushing about in an aimless or even a purposeful dream or a thought. Now, when I was in California, I did try to study Buddhism, but I had a difficult time with that. It just didn't seem to me, and I'll talk a little bit about that more later. But for me, that really wasn't my path. And when Faith and I were in Costa Rica, we had howler monkeys outside our door. We would sit out on the patio and watch the howler monkeys and everything until one night we heard this like screaming, which I thought sounded more like a lion than howler monkeys. But, it didn't matter because it scared us. So we rushed back inside and shut the door. And then I came back out later. But I was kind of aware all night long. And Buddhism teaches about howler monkeys. And so now when I think about the monkey mind, I think about these howler monkeys and how disruptive or I don't know, they just would disrupt everything. And so I think about those howler monkeys outside our door anytime I think about how the monkey mind is messing with me. And I'll talk a little bit more about monkey mind later. In Judaism, within the framework of the overall framework of Judaism, the meditative practices are intended to deepen the individual's engagement with all aspects of religion in developing an understanding of the servant spirit. Okay. Christian meditation is the process of deliberately focusing on and reflecting on specific Bible passages and what they mean to us individually. And then there's, oh gosh, I can't even read this stuff now. Oh my God, I'm using Google Docs, the voice typing. Because I did this in a previous sermon and it just is making up words. But I believe that is the Sufi, which would be the Muslim way. The Sufi meditations are really to engage the spirit in like Sufi dance and Sufi chanting. It just totally immerses you in the feeling of spirit within you. And then Zoroastrianism, I never thought that I would ever know anybody that was a Zoroastrian. I thought that religion was pretty much gone. Lynn teaches about it in his Bible classes about, a lot of the mystical stories or the mythical stories about like Jesus and all of these other things are directly the same as Zoroastrianism. And so there's some speculation within the educational community about Bible that's where it originated from, was the Zoroastrianism. And so then comes this kid from Holland. Well, he's not a kid, he's in his 20s, but and he's a Zoroastrian, and I was so shocked, and I was loving listening to him and Lynn converse about their religion. But in Zoroastrianism, let's see, it's a practice where an individual focuses on a particular object so that they can get the mind out of the way, so to speak. They can clear their mind. So, and it's closely related to our practice because it's about making a connection with the Spirit of God. Okay. So when we talk about our meditation, it's very closely aligned with all of them. We quiet the monkey mind, of course, and we check into our heart's relationship with our Creator, which is basically what the Christian thing is. And then we are focusing on the love of God, and we are paying attention and awareness to achieve a mentally clear and emotionally state, like the practice of meditation. So it encompasses all of that. But the biggest thing that I want to talk about is our connection with the inner presence of God. That's what I feel like what we're trying to do. And it's really interesting because if you don't cultivate that relationship, then you don't have the ability to just jump to center or jump to consciousness, as we say. In the midst of 9/11, there was a circle of us. Oz can remember this. There was a circle of us, and we just held hands and jumped to consciousness right away. And we were able to do that because we had established a daily practice of meditation and gotten ourselves to that point where we could actually jump into consciousness without having to do much preparation work, because all the preparation work is done on a daily basis. And I don't know how many of you have tried in the middle of a crisis or any kind of disaster to jump to consciousness right away, right? We're all in reaction to what's going on around us, and it's very difficult for us to get to that center point because we haven't been doing the meditation. Well, I do, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, I trained my practitioners for like 5 years to do meditation. And the reason we do that is so that on a daily basis, we are cultivating that relationship with that inner presence of God within us. And when you've cultivated that relationship, then of course you can jump to center. When I send practitioners out to hospitals to help, with somebody who's in the hospital, or when I send them to funerals or memorials, it's because I know that they can sit in the room and pray and not be affected by all of it, which is really kind of the purpose of being able to meditate on demand, kind of pray on demand too. And so last week we talked about getting rid of those things that keep us from being receptive and preparing our minds to be ready to receive. So this week we're going to actually get into the state of receptivity through that connection. And so let me talk a little bit about Buddhism, my experience of Buddhism anyway. When I was in the Buddhist temple trying to learn how to do this meditation, you had to sit a certain way, you had to hold your hands a certain way, you had to, of course, sit up straight, which, is good for your circulation anyway. It's a good practice to sit up. I don't always do that. I kind of hunch a little bit. And there were so many rules because you're not supposed to focus on the body. You're supposed to focus on what's going on in the mind, and you're supposed to, get rid of all the thoughts, and, and there was just so many rules that I couldn't focus on actually meditating. So for me, the Buddhist path is not the one for me. I had this massage therapist for 29 years, Hansa, who was a Hindu. And she had this boyfriend that was Buddhist, and he lived with her for a short time. And then he decided he was going to go on this 6-month retreat to do meditation. And he was describing the process of it, which was not particularly appetizing to me. They spend 6 months in total silence. They get up at 4 a.m. They sit in meditation till the noon meal, which is a cup of rice and a bowl of soup, actually broth, not even soup, just broth. And then they go back to meditation until the sun goes down, at which time they go to their rooms, and there's a reed mat that they're laying on the floor, not very comfortable. And they do this for 6 months. And so I'm trying to understand. I really wanted to understand. So I'm having this conversation with him. I'm like, okay, so let me get this straight. This is what you're doing. And what is the purpose of all of this? And he said, the purpose of meditation is to get the body out of the way so you can become more aware. Okay. And I said, so you put yourself in these contortions, which aggravates the body. And he said, yes, because the point of it all is to overcome the body's needs and be able to focus only on the awareness. And I said, that's a little like, when the Catholic Church the priests used to flog themselves to inflict pain as a punishment to themselves. And he said, it's a little like that, because what you want to do is you want to make the body so uncomfortable that sooner or later the body gives up and allows your mind to concentrate on it. He says, the whole purpose is we are so consumed with what the bodily needs are that our mind is not free to meditate. So this frees the mind. So I said, okay, so the purpose of meditation then is to get the body out of the way so you can be more aware. And he said, yes. And I said, so what is the purpose of becoming more aware? And he said, the purpose of becoming aware is so that you're more enlightened. What it basically came down to as we talked through it is that the purpose of meditation was for their minds to be absolutely present, 100% present in the moment. Now, that I agree with. I think that is one of the benefits of meditation, that it does make you present in the moment. You can't concentrate on the past when you're in meditation, and you can't concentrate on the future when you're in meditation. If you're in the past, you're grieving for something that's gone before. And if you're in the future, You're wishing something to happen. But if you're in the present moment, you are experiencing life as it is right now. However, let me also say that I know right now is not the most pleasant of experiences in this world, with all the crime going on, with all the shootings going on, with all the, riots and whatever else, and, with COVID as a perfect example. It is not that easy to stay present in the moment because, boy, it doesn't seem like someplace we want to be. So let me say to you that being present in the moment is not being present in the violence. It's not being present in the I can'ts. It is being present in the moment where you realize that what you are doing is you are connecting with that infinite power, that infinite presence that dwells within you. That the whole point of all of this is to have a better experience of what's going on. So for instance, like I heard this story one time about these two kids, and their dad made them go out and mow the lawn. And the boy went out and he just, got it done and did his thing and then moved on to whatever else he was going to do. The little girl goes out there and she's like, oh, it's so hot and this is so hard and I just don't like doing this, and stretched it out forever because she was so focused on how much of a, horrible experience it was. And the truth is that they were both having the exact same experience, but their perception of what the experience was changing the experience for them. And when you're in meditation, you can change the experience of what's going on in the world. The violence, whatever else is going on, politics and, all these people shouting all these different things at you and trying to get you to do things or not do things. And, when you can focus in on the here and now in meditation, then all of that just drops away. Not only is your body, not an object, but the world itself is not a problem. And so even though we strive to be present in the moment, the main purpose of meditation is to be in connection with that infinite power, that infinite presence of God within us. And we establish that relationship. Now, over the years, I've heard all the excuses possible. I can't take time to meditate. I don't have time. I can't make my mind be quiet. I can't. When I was a little girl, I was at this camp and we had this wrangler named Shorty who was teaching us how to ride horses. And one little girl said at some point, I can't. And oh my God, he went crazy. He just absolutely lost his mind. And he said, if you think you can't, you won't be able to do anything in this life. You have to never say, I can't. Strike it from your vocabulary. He just went on and on and on. But I got the point. The point is that every time we make the excuse that we can't, we're affirming that we can't. Now, he didn't say it that way, but I know what the point was. Here's a perfect example. I went to a real estate seminar years ago where this guy was talking about landlord and tenant relationships. And he was talking about how when somebody says to him, a tenant says to him, I can't pay my rent, he immediately says, it's not that you can't pay your rent, it's that you choose not to pay your rent. Now, I know that people are probably not very happy with that. But he says, you have money for this, you have money for that, you don't have money for rent. I don't believe it. You have money. It's just that you choose to use it on something else. So what I propose to you is that we really do make choices. We make choices about our money. We make choices about our relationships. We make choices about our health. And we make choices about our time. So any excuse that comes up for you, like I can't meditate, deal with it. Just deal with it, because that's what's going to keep you from being able to have a relationship with that inner presence of God. Now, if you're in a relationship with someone and they say, I can't make time for you, I'm sorry, I just don't have time for you ever, is that relationship going to last? No, of course not. And I'm not proposing that God is, a person, a he or a she person. What I'm saying is that if you are saying, I can only give you 5 minutes a month, no relationship is going to work. And the relationship with God is the same way. Because we're talking about cultivating that relationship with the presence of God that lives within us. It's always there. It's always going to be there. It can't ever leave us. But what happens when we want to make contact with God and we haven't put any effort into cultivating that relationship? It's going to be harder for us to connect with it, right? And so that's why I tell that story about 9/11, because we're all going through a lot of things right now. And contacting or cultivating the relationship with God is what's going to get us to that place of peace where we are not at the effect of everything that's going on around us. I talked about this when we were in the lockdown. I don't know if you remember, but it was really important to hone in on what we could do to make that experience better, because we were stuck in our homes. We weren't able to be with anyone. Of course, that's kind of still the case here, although more and more people are getting vaccinated. Like my sister has been redoing her cabin, and I'm so excited to see it. And she said, well, I'm going to have a little party to celebrate it when it's done. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't come, because, I live with someone that is operating on 30% of his lung capacity, so I can't afford to be exposed to anything. And she said, everyone there will be vaccinated. And that changed it for me. So now I can go. It's only going to be 2 of her friends, her husband and herself and me, and all of us will have been vaccinated at that point. So I can hug her. I can kiss her cheek. I can be with her. It's just, I can't tell you how much joy that brings me. But in the process of knowing that that has been the case all along, that we haven't been able to do that, what has saved me in the worst times is that ability to contact that relationship with God. Because I do know that that's the only relationship that really, really counts. Because when I love my sister, I'm loving God as my sister. And the love that she returns back to me is the love of God coming back to me. And so when I recognize that that's what I'm doing in meditation, we understand that it is a much deeper, much more important tool that we need to use so that we can reach peace in a troubled world, so that we can reach peace when when we're frustrated because we aren't able to be with our loved ones. And so I want to tell you also that meditation is it's not that big of a thing. Like a lot of the religions make it a very big thing. For instance, the Buddhist meditation with all the, have to do all the rules and everything to get to that state of peace. And I feel like I can meditate anywhere at any time. Ram Dass did this whole thing about meditating in a temple and how easy it was to meditate in a temple. And so what he did was he went to New York City because he thought, well, okay, if I'm going to be able to prove that meditation works, I'm going to have to go in the middle of New York City and sit on a corner. And with all the traffic and all the sounds and all the busyness and commotion, if I can meditate there, then meditation works. So he did it, and he was able to do that. And so I believe that that's what's really true. Like you can meditate in a grocery store. If you're in line and somebody has too many items and it's taking forever and they have to look up prices for them or something like that, and you're standing there and you're getting frustrated, if you find yourself getting frustrated, all you have to do is close your eyes and breathe and focus on the breath. Focus on God. Focus on the presence of God within you. Because at that moment, all the frustration goes away, and I guarantee you it'll be a lot faster that you get to the check stand. Because what I found is the more aggravated I get, the more things take time. And the more I can focus in on the God within me, the quicker things go. It's just interesting. It's like, we always say that which you resist persists. So when you're in frustration, you're persisting or you're resisting something. And so it persists. But if you can take your mind off of that and put your mind on something that is powerful within you, then the peace of God, then all of a sudden there's nothing to persist. And so things just go more smoothly. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about the process of meditation. Now, I teach meditation. My students, when I first teach them, the first thing that I teach them is the breath, focusing on the breath. You focus on the in-breath, you hold it for count of 4, and you focus on the out-breath, and you count your breaths. And then what that does is it just takes your mind off of what's going on around you and puts you inwardly focused on that breath. And opens the pathway for you to be able to experience the peace of God. The second exercise I teach my students is a candle meditation. And I know my sister just loves this one. And that is, you take a candle, you sit down on the floor, and you put a candle that's lit in front of you, and you focus your attention, you stare at that flame, and you focus your attention only on that flame. And you do that for about a minute at first, and then you take your hands and you put them over the heels of your hands over your eye sockets. Now, you don't press hard. Please know that you're not pressing hard. You're just kind of moving them into place so that there's no light. And you begin to focus on, there will be a little flame, the same flame that you were watching, will appear right here in the middle of your forehead. And it wants to jump around. It wants to dance all over the place. And what you're doing in the meditation is you're focusing your mind so that that flame stays right there. There's a lot of different types of meditation, forms of meditation, I should say. For instance, like the Christian thing about focusing on a Bible quote. I'm not a big Bible person. There are a couple things in the Bible that really inspire me. My husband teaches Bible, and he's really into it. That's just not my thing. But what I have found is that you can find affirmations. Sometimes there's just something that somebody says that hits you a certain way, and you can focus on whatever it was that they said. And that will take you inward into, what does that mean to me? Just like the Bible verses would. Affirmations are the same way. Like, I focus on the affirmation and I just kind of focus on it exclusively until I can feel it in my body that it has hit, you see. There's also staring at an object. Now, when I was in the school of ministry, we sat in the middle of this room doing meditation, and there would be an object that we were supposed to stare at and focus our exclusive attention on that object no matter what happened. So our instructor, Evan, would go around and do weird things in the room to try and distract us so that we could get the experience of what it's like to have the monkey mind going all the time. So we'd be sitting there and we'd be just really getting into the meditation, and he'd go and turn the water faucet on. And, you know, normally you just go, oh, what was that, right? And our whole purpose was to sit there and not do that and just sit and focus on that one object. And then he'd do things like he'd come around us and stamp behind us and that kind of thing. All stuff to try and distract us away from that object, which worked a lot of the time. But what we were being taught to do is to learn to block out all of the distractions of life, so that when we focus on something, we are clearly focused on that and nothing else. Everything else sort of disappears out into the realm of nothingness. And when you do that, when you are focusing in on whether that's a candle flame or a phrase or an affirmation or a Bible quote or anything like that, if you can tune your focus into that and not be distracted by anything else, then you are able to meditate, whether you're in the line of a grocery store, you're sitting on a busy street corner in New York, or you're in your home and the news is playing in the background because someone else wants to watch it, you know. It doesn't really matter as long as you can focus your attention in on that. So what you're doing then is you are cultivating a relationship with something that is more powerful than you. Like, I see this much of life. We all do. Our human doingness can only see this much of life. And God sees an entirely bigger picture. God sees it all. And so by contacting that, we are open and receptive to more of the information about the goodness of life and less of the information about the human experience of what's happening in the world right now, right? I mean, you know, I struggle with it too. I will tell you, you know, there are times when I turn on the TV and I think, oh God, I can't even watch another story about somebody being shot by the police. I just can't focus in on it anymore. I can't let myself do that. And so I realized at that point that I need to go to meditation, that I need to get into a meditative state and stop watching the news, stop watching and listening, like even TikTok. I get on TikTok and, you know, I am following activists. I will admit to that I am following activists. And so I'm going to hear more of all of that stuff. But each time I do that, because I like them and I like listening to them, but each time I do that, I get off of TikTok and I have to put myself back into that meditative state so that I'm having the experience of a peaceful life. That I'm not focused on all of the death and all of the violence and all of the destruction and all of the things that were supposed to happen yesterday, which, as far as I know, didn't happen. I don't want to be focused on those things. I would rather spend time cultivating that relationship with God, with that power within me, so that I can walk through life knowing that I'm not alone. I can never be alone. God can't leave me. If it's what I'm made of, it cannot leave me. And because it cannot leave me, the peace of God is what my true reality really is. But I have to spend time focusing on that in order to allow myself the presence of mind in the midst of crises to be able to be peaceful. So I don't get caught up in things. It's really easy when you take somebody to the hospital to get caught up in the experience of a what if. What if this happens? What if that happens? Tomorrow, Lynn, he's being evaluated for a lung transplant. So tomorrow, he is going in for a catheterization of his heart. He's going to be there like 8 hours. And we're, doing the 5 wishes document so that we have it clear, if something were to happen. But I'm not going to be focusing my attention on that. I'm going to be focusing my attention on God and the power of God. And I know that as he goes through this experience, he is safe and held in the arms of love. And so that's what I'm going to focus my attention on. And I challenge you to do that with your life, to not only sit in meditation every single day, to spend time cultivating that relationship, but in the midst of crises, to look to that relationship, to be the foundation of your peace, to be that which you know to be so about your prosperous life, about your health and wellness, about your relationships. That when you have cultivated that relationship with God, you do have better health because you are now expressing the more perfect example, the more perfect experience of God. Life isn't perfect here on the planet Earth, but God is perfect. And my relationship with God is perfect. And so I challenge you to do that, to spend time every day meditating, and then in the midst of crisis, to turn yourself back to the thought of that perfect relationship, that cultivation of relationship that you've been working on. So this week, you are going to practice meditation. Now, if you start out with a candle meditation because you've never been meditating before, you're going to start out with a minute of staring at the flame. You're going to put your hands over your eyes, and then you're going to focus on that flame for as long as you can. Once it starts jumping around, your meditation is over. But the more you do that, the more you spend time doing that, the longer you will be able to sit with that, and the more able you will be to focus on it. Okay? And that will help you in the long run. At night, a perfect way to fall asleep is to focus on your breath. You do 10 counts in through your nose, you hold it for 4 counts, and then you breathe out through your mouth. 10 counts. And by the time I get done doing that, I fall asleep just like that. No matter what's going on in my life, I can do that if I just focus my attention there. Once I wake up, then I have a harder time doing that. But at night, if I do my meditation, I like to do meditation at night. It's the best preparation for sleep, let's put it that way. And then I do the breath work right before I go to bed. But that's a great way to get into meditation. Then focus on an object or a phrase or an affirmation or a Bible quote if that speaks to you. Focus on whatever it is that is going to take you deeper into that relationship with God. And when you focus on an affirmation and you ask yourself, what does this affirmation mean to me? You're doing double duty. You're doing that, getting your mind ready to receive, and you're learning how to be receptive to those ideas, you see? And that's really what it's about. That's the main thing. So this week, boy, I know this is a lot of work. I know I'm asking a lot of you, but try to meditate 5 minutes a day. And then expand it to 6, and then 7, and then 8, and then 9, and then 10. I would like you to get up to 20 minutes. I do an hour, but that's me. I've been doing this for so many years. Trust me, you do have time. You think you don't have time, but you choose to spend your time other ways. You see, that's back to that whole real estate thing. It's what we choose to do with our time that makes our life better. If you choose to spend time TikToking or watching news or being out in the world doing things instead of spending time in meditation, then that's a choice you're making. And that's fine. But I'm just saying, if you really want prosperity and you want a healthy body and you want good relationships, that meditation is going to take you to the place where you are open and receptive to seeing it and feeling it and experiencing it. Okay? So, all right, here we go. I'm going to try and run them all down. All right, so we started out with gratitude. For those of you who are just joining, we are doing a spiritual bank account. And because the mind does not know the difference between fact and fiction, we are recording money made, money earned by us through our spiritual practices. So we started out with gratitude, and we did gratitude first thing in the morning, whichever way thank you, God, this is the day that God has made and it is good. Or thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Whichever way you do that, you greet the day with gratitude, and you're going to give yourself $100 in your spiritual bank account for that. And then you're going to take gratitude breaks, all day. If you do 5 of them, you get $500. And at night, you're going to do, you give yourself $100 for each gratitude break you take. So if you do 5, you get $500. At night, you're going to think of 5 things that you're grateful for and journal them before you go to bed. And that's $500 right there. Okay. And if you've been doing this all along, you've made quite a bit of money just on the gratitude alone. We're going to do our affirmations. If you do an affirmation, you get $100 for each time you say the affirmation. So if you're doing it, what I suggest is 10 times a day, you're doing 100 affirmations. For that, you get $10,000, right? No brainer. Because you can do that in the car. You can do that in the bathtub or the shower. You can do that anywhere at any time. And when you do that, every time you do that, you're going to give yourself $100 for each time you say that affirmation. It builds up. Trust me, it accumulates. And then because we're doing a spiritual bank account, we're giving ourselves $100 for each entry that we put into the spiritual bank account. And then we're spending that money by writing fake checks and putting them up on the refrigerator, either to pay off our bills or towards something we've always dreamed of having, which we put a picture of it sitting on the refrigerator with the check written out to wherever you're going to buy it from in full on the refrigerator. And each time you write one of those checks, you get $100. And each time you look at that, you get $100. And then we're working on our beliefs, our limiting beliefs. And each time you notice that you have a limiting belief that's showing up, you're going to give yourself $100. Now, we have something like 400 thoughts a minute. We're only conscious of 20 maybe. And so if you can become conscious of 20 of your thoughts that are limiting beliefs, think about that. $2,000. Boom. Excuse me. Okay, so all this time we've been accumulating $100 for each time you've been here on Sunday, because I know there's 1,000 places you could be on a Sunday morning doing whatever, and we're glad you're here with us. So you're giving yourself $100 for being here. Now we've been stepping up to tithing, okay? So we're stepping up to tithing, and each week we're giving to our source, our spiritual source, which is God. The first week was 1%. You gave yourself $100 plus 1%, whatever the 1% was you were giving. And the second week you were giving yourself $200. and 2%, whatever the equivalent of 2% of what you were giving was. And then the third week was 300, and you're giving yourself $300 for actually tithing, and you're giving yourself 3% of whatever that represents, whatever your income was for the week. Same thing with week 4, $400 plus 4%, $500 plus 5%, $600 plus 6%, $700 and 7%. Today, you're going to give yourself $800 for tithing and the equivalent of 8% of your income, which is what you are tithing to our church. Okay, so you're going to give yourself all that money for tithing, for participating in church. Now you're going to add on, for every time you do meditation, for every minute that you meditate, you get $100. So if you get yourself up to 20 minutes a day, that's $2,000 a day. Now, by now you realize how much money is accumulating through all of these spiritual practices. It's really important for us to see that we've been doing that. Now, the other thing we've been doing, not only have we been tithing to the church, but we've been tithing to ourselves and spending that money on ourselves, not on our spouse, not on our children, not on anyone else. We're not giving it away to charity. We're giving it to ourselves. Because trust me, until you give it to yourselves, you cannot open the pathway for the amount of prosperity that you are able to handle. You're not enlarging your cup. You know, giving and receiving is very, very important. So we not only give to our spiritual source, give back to our spiritual source, but we also give back to ourselves. And so by now, you should have had a pretty fair amount of money in your own savings account for yourself, or you've been spending it. You've had spa days, you've had pedicures, manicures, you've gone out and purchased a boat or a motorcycle or something that sings to you as a prosperous, something that represents your prosperity. Okay, so you've been giving yourself $100 for each time you do any of those things. And you're winding up with a fair bit of money that you can actually spend. Because what happens, since the mind doesn't know the difference between fact and fiction, is you're seeing all of this money accumulate in your spiritual bank account, and it begins to translate over into your checking account. Now, how many of you have noticed the 7% is missing out of your money? You've no? Okay, she's shaking her head no. I can see Faith, you can't. What's really interesting is if you've been doing this stepping up to tithing, is that you don't notice that money gone because God replaces that money. I can't tithe enough to deplete my resources, and that's the thing. So while you're doing all of these things, can I get a commitment, at least for this week and going forward, hopefully, that you will meditate every single day. You will find the time somewhere that you will choose to cultivate that relationship with God. Let's have a prayer. So right now, I just move my awareness to the infinite presence, the infinite power, the infinite life of God. Knowing that God is simply all there is, all there ever has been, all there ever will be, and all there is in this moment, operating through everything right here, right now. And as I know that God is simply all there is, that is where I find myself, in the midst of God. My very essence, my very life, my very being, it is who and what I am. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that one indwelling wisdom of the ages that is the life of me. I know this to be so for God's team that I have the honor and privilege to manage. For I know that each action that we take, Faith, Oz, Lynn, myself, we are taking that action on behalf of God, that God is letting us know what actions here on this planet Earth need to be taken in order to more effectively open the pathway for God's existence and power and presence to be felt and known and heard around the world. but we are connected by it through it. We are all one. And so I know this to be so for each person that is listening to this message, whether that be in real time or later on. For there is no place where one leaves off and the other begins. We are all one. Mitakuye Oyasin. We are all one. And so I know whatever challenges we are experiencing, I do know that God's power and God's intelligence and God's beauty are underlying that infinite power, that infinite presence of God is underlying whatever situation we are experiencing. I bless this coming week because I do know that with all the challenges that we experience, there's a revelation of God's power and God's presence in and through those things, those situations, those challenges. I know that for every name that is in the ministry of prayer today, because I do know that the answer to the challenge is the power of God. And so I pull back the veil and reveal it here and now, God's power, God's presence through that situation. I claim it for them, knowing that it is good and very good. I call it good and very good. And I claim it for them in their name, here and now. And so right now, my heart just fills with gratitude to know this is so, to be in service in this way, as I just let go and let God. And so it is. Amen. I would love to stay in prayer most of the time. It's almost like a little high that I get. It's great. All right, so this is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to give thanks for that which you have experienced in your life, and that which you've already created in the mind of God, but have not yet really experienced in form. It's also an opportunity for you to do the 8%. Please, if you are giving 8% or more, don't go backwards. Give your 8% today. Give yourself $800 in your spiritual bank account plus 8%. So if you, for instance, made $1,000 this month, 8% of that would be $80. So you're going to give yourself the 800 plus 80. No, that would be 1%. No, 10% would be 800. No, that would be, God, all of a sudden I can't do math. 10% would be $80. I was right the first time. Okay. So you're going to give yourself $880 if you did that. All right. So now I want you to go to oasiscsl.org. And on that first page, about 2/3 of the way, I've been saying a half, but it's about 2/3 of the way down is our offering affirmation. And then underneath that is a contribute now button. And so we're going to say that offering affirmation together, whether you are viewing this in real time or later on. It doesn't matter. You can do it along with us. It still works. It doesn't have to be in real time. But say this offering affirmation with me that is on oasiscsl.org. It's on the screen and it's in the comments section. Faith has put it there. Say it with me now. This perfect gift is spirit and form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive. And so it is. Okay. Our 1-minute miracle, which Oz is available for, is a time where you can let him know whatever challenge you are experiencing, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. You can contact him through video chat. If he doesn't answer right away, it means that he's on the phone with someone else, and so try back later. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners that make up our ministry of prayer, which we call the God Squad, who pray on those requests every day for a week. So if you would like to have prayer, please note in the comment section what you would like prayer for. If you don't want that to be public, please direct message one of us, and we'll make sure that it gets on the group page for our Facebook group page for the God Squad. It's a private page. No one else can see it. Only the people who are on our God Squad can see it. And if you would like to participate in our God Squad, you don't have to be a licensed practitioner. You do, however, need to commit to doing positive affirmative prayer every day for a week, and you need to follow through on that. So if you are interested in doing that, say yes in the comments section. And I want to let you know that our practitioners, our licensed practitioners, are available by appointment for a fee for spiritual guidance. You can contact them through Facebook, and you can arrange with them through PayPal or Cash App or Venmo or whatever form of payment to pay for your session, and then at the appointed time they will reach out to you by video chat. All right. And if you would like to be part of our online community, I don't know what's going on. If you would like to be part of our online community, type more in the comments section, and Faith will add you to our public group page on Facebook, which is our online community. I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to ignore it. Okay. I don't have my bracelet on for Brooks and Bailey, but here's their information. It's Rocky. All the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue, and you contact her through Brooks and Bailey 0307 at Gmail. Faith has all of that in there. And Faith, you want to do this real quick?
Yeah, this is my metaphysical shop. Definitely check it out. We have intention jars for whatever you're working on manifesting right now through this 10-week program, as well as bath salts that have amazing aromatherapy in it. And prices range from $7 to $45.
Thank you. Okay, so here's one of the jars. This one is 15. This is my prosperity jar that she made for me. Isn't that nice? So pretty. All right. And then Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's music. You can go to her website. She does travel quite a bit on the road for her music. And so in order to reach her and make sure that you can get money to her, you need to contact her by email. And then Karen Drucker's music. She has a website that works all the time. She can get money wherever she needs to be. And so you can purchase either a single song or a CD or a songbook. Some of her songbooks even have American Sign Language in them. So that's pretty good. I learned love. Now you'll have to tell me, Faith, if this is right. Someone on TikTok was doing this. This is L-O, let's see, V-E. Is that right? I did it right. Cool. Okay. So anyway, she has American Sign Language in there and in some of those songs. So you can purchase all of that from her website. Like I said, it goes directly to her bank account so she can get access to the money anywhere she goes. All right. And then check out our website, oasiscsl.org, for previous sermons and current sermons as well. We try to post those as much as we can. So go there, check out our practitioners, check out the sermons, and of course, let us know how things are going for you. All right, let's move into our last song here.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I so blessed.
Okay, thank you for being here today. I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning. We're glad you were here with us. We love you. Oops, I got to get everybody up here. I forgot. We love you. Stay safe, wear a mask, get vaccinated, and be here back with us next Sunday, 10:30 a.m. every Sunday morning, Mountain Time. Bye. We love you.